Let's talk about the duck and the decorated shed. So what exactly is a duck? And why did Venturi believe a simple box with a sign could communicate better than an iconic building? At first, the idea sounds almost ridiculous, but once you understand it, you begin to see architecture in a different way. In 1972, Robert Venturi, Denise Scott Brown, and Steven Izenour published Learning from Las Vegas. In that book, they introduced two ways architecture communicates. The first was the duck. A duck is a building where the form itself tries to carry the message. The shape becomes the sign. Imagine a coffee shop shaped like a giant coffee cup. You do not need a sign to understand what it is. The building itself has become the symbol. This is powerful. But Venturi noticed a problem. When architecture tries to communicate only through form, it can become difficult, expensive, forced. And sometimes you begin to wonder, why spend so much to create all those curves? And even after all that effort, why is it still hard to tell where the entrance is? People are not standing there just to admire the beauty of the duck from the outside, thinking about whether the proportions work well or not. They are usually asking something simpler. What is this place? Where do I enter? What am I supposed to do here? And this is where Venturi introduced the second idea, the decorated shed. A decorated shed is almost the opposite of a duck. The building itself can be simple, ordinary, even just a box. But the meaning is added clearly through signs, graphics, lighting, symbols, and words. A simple building with a large sign saying hotel or casino or coffee. The building does not pretend to become a sculpture. It allows communication to happen directly. And this was the surprising part. Venturi realized that ordinary people often understood the decorated shed more easily. Not because it was more beautiful, but because it spoke clearly. It did not ask people to decode architecture. It simply gave them the information they needed. And this was not really a question of taste. Venturi was asking something more practical. Which architecture works better in real life? Which architecture communicates more honestly with the people who use it? And suddenly, architecture was no longer only about visual purity. It became about readability, human understanding, everyday experience. And this feels even more relevant today because we still see it everywhere. Buildings trying to become icons, twisting towers, dramatic silhouettes, architecture trying hard to become an image. But most people do not experience buildings as images. They experience them by moving, entering, searching, finding their way. And when a building fails to answer basic human questions, we feel it immediately. Where is the entrance? How do I get inside? Where is the elevator? And if architecture cannot answer these questions clearly, then we have to ask, does it matter how impressive the form is? That is the tension Venturi exposed. And in many ways, this is where design beyond form begins. Architecture cannot stop at appearance. It has to return to real life.